The crystal glass in Richard's hand caught the candlelight as he stood at the head of the table. Thanksgiving. The dining room smelled like roasted turkey and expensive wine, the kind that costs more than my weekly grocery bill. He cleared his throat. Everyone went quiet. "To family," he announced, voice thick with that practiced warmth he saved for audiences. His eyes swept across the table, past Eleanor's perfectly set china, past Victoria's Instagram-ready smile, past the relatives who'd watched me be humiliated for 12 years. Then his gaze landed on me. "To blood," he continued, lifting his glass higher, "to the people who will be here long after the rest have gone." The rest. He meant me. I sat there in the dress they'd mocked 3 hours earlier, still shopping off the clearance rack. Isabella? Feeling my 10-year-old daughter Lily squeeze my hand under the table. This was the chair they once told me I didn't deserve, that I'd married above my station, that some things were just for family. Eleanor's lips curled into that same smug smile she'd perfected over the years. Victoria lifted her phone, already recording for whatever petty Instagram story she was crafting. The cousins, the aunts, the family friends, they all watched, waiting. Richard set his glass down with a deliberate clink that echoed like a judge's gavel. "Let's be honest," he said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Some of us are family. Some of us, we're just passing through." The silence that followed was thick enough to choke on, and that was the exact moment I decided. I'd been carrying it for months, the manila folder in my purse, heavy as a loaded gun. Tonight I finally pulled the trigger. I smiled, slow, calm. The smile I'd practiced in the mirror while my heart screamed for justice. Then I reached into my purse. The room held its breath. I pulled out the folder and laid it on the table, right on top of Eleanor's precious heirloom turkey platter, the one she said was too good for someone like me to touch. I flipped it open. The deed stared up at them like a death sentence. Property of Isabella Marie Rossi, recorded 2018. Their address in bold, unmistakable letters. Richard blinked first, then his face went white. Eleanor made a sound like a cat being stepped on. Victoria's phone clattered to the floor, and Lily, my sweet, confused girl, whispered, "Mommy?" I leaned back in the chair they said I didn't deserve and let the silence stretch. Let them feel it. Let them realize. "Funny thing about blood," I said quietly, my voice steady as stone. "It doesn't pay the mortgage. You see, they always thought they were the rich ones, the powerful ones, the family. They had no idea the house they were sitting in, the one they bragged about, the one they lorded over me for over a decade, had been mine for 7 years. And tonight, I was done pretending. Let me take you back to how we got here. Because if you've ever been treated like you're disposable by the people who were supposed to love you, this one's for you. Hit that subscribe button right now. You're going to want to see how this ends. I met Alexander Rossi 14 years ago when I was 24 and hungry. Not for food, I had 3 jobs for that. Hungry for more. For the empire, I was building one flipped house at a time. For the life I'd clawed out of nothing with my bare hands and a real estate license I'd earned working nights at a diner. He walked into my open house on a Tuesday afternoon wearing a tailored wool coat that probably cost more than my car. Dark hair, easy smile, and eyes that actually looked at me like I mattered. "You look like someone who knows what she's doing," he said. I laughed, because I did. What he didn't tell me, what I didn't discover until after we were married, was that his family was broke. Old money that had evaporated 3 generations ago like morning fog. The big house on Maplewood Lane with the marble columns and the circular driveway, 4th mortgage. The Mercedes and the BMW in the garage, leased. The country club membership Eleanor bragged about at every social function, 1 payment away from cancellation. But Alex loved me. Really, truly loved me in that way that doesn't care about bank accounts or family names or which side of the tracks you grew up on. We got married 6 months later in a courthouse with $20 flowers from the bodega on the corner. His parents didn't come. Eleanor sent a card, cream-colored, expensive paper, her perfect cursive, that said, "We wish you both the happiness you deserve." I should have known then what that meant. For 12 years, I bit my tongue until it bled. I paid for renovations on their crumbling mansion, $64,000 for the roof alone when it started leaking into the master bedroom, while Eleanor told her friends my design choices were tacky and nouveau riche. She'd pat my hand and say, "You'll understand taste eventually, dear." I smiled and wrote another check. When Richard had his heart attack at 62, their insurance had lapsed 6 months earlier. They'd stopped paying the premiums to keep up appearances at the club. The surgery cost $187,000. I wired it through a trust I'd set up, made it look like it came from some distant relative they barely remembered. Let them think someone else had saved Richard's life. He never thanked me, never knew to. 2 months after his recovery, he cornered me at their anniversary party and said, "You know, Isabella, some women marry for love. Others marry for what they can get." His breath smelled like scotch and superiority. "We all know which one you are." I was paying for the party, the caterers, the champagne. Even the anniversary gift Eleanor showed off, a diamond tennis bracelet I'd bought and Alex had presented as "from us." I smiled and excused myself to the bathroom, where I cried silently for exactly 3 minutes before fixing my makeup and going back out. That's what you do when you're not really family. You swallow it, you take it, you smile. Victoria was easier to hate. At least she was honest about it. When she was 28 and having a breakdown about never being able to travel like normal rich people, I flew her to Paris, first class, boutique hotel, shopping money. I gave her 7 days of the life she thought she deserved. She posted 147 photos on Instagram, tagged her mother and brother, never mentioned my name once. When she got back, she said, "That was nice." Too bad you'll never understand what it's like to really belong in places like that. Alex tried. God, he tried to defend me. But he was soft in all the places I'd been forced to grow hard. He hated conflict, hated raised voices. His childhood had been quiet disapproval and cold shoulders, and he'd learned to keep the peace at any cost. "Just let it go, babe," he'd whisper, squeezing my hand under the table at Sunday dinners. "They're old. They don't mean it." But they did mean it. Every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every birthday party where I brought the gifts and organized the food and cleaned up afterward, they meant it. "You'll never really understand our traditions, dear. Some things are just for family." The Rossi name carries weight, Isabella. It's a responsibility you weren't born into. Blood knows blood. You wouldn't get it. I got it. I got that they needed my money, but not my presence. That they'd take what I gave and resent me for having it to give. That to them, I'd always be the girl from nowhere who'd somehow tricked their son into loving her. For 12 years, I built my real estate portfolio in silence, bought properties, flipped houses, made investments, built the fortune they thought Alex had inherited, and I never corrected them. Then Alex died. We were putting Lily to bed. She was 8. He kissed her forehead and said, "Sweet dreams, baby girl." Tucked her purple blanket around her shoulders, turned off the light. We were halfway down the hall when he said, "I don't feel right." He collapsed before I could catch him. Brain aneurysm, catastrophic. The doctors said he was probably dead before he hit the floor, that nothing could have saved him, that sometimes these things just happen. He was 38 years old. The funeral was the first time Eleanor hugged me in 12 years. She sobbed into my shoulder and said, "We're all each other has now. Family has to stick together." I thought grief had finally broken through her ice. I was wrong. 3 weeks later, she called. I was in Lily's room trying to convince her to eat something, anything. My daughter had barely spoken since we buried her father. "Isabella," Eleanor said, her voice syrupy with fake sympathy. "I know this is difficult, but we need to talk about practical matters. Now that Alexander's gone, well, it's time we all moved on with our lives. The house is really too big for just you and Lily. We'll be putting it on the market. You can have 60 days to find something more appropriate." I remember the exact texture of Lily's bedspread under my palm, the way my daughter's eyes watched me, wide and frightened. The house, I repeated slowly. Yes, dear. I know Alex would have wanted us to make smart decisions. And really, maintaining a property this size on... She paused, delicate as a knife. Whatever your situation is now, it wouldn't be fair to you. The house. My house. The one I'd paid cash for in 2018 when the bank sent the final foreclosure notice, when Richard and Eleanor's fourth mortgage had finally come due and there was no one left to borrow from. Alex had come to me crying, not for himself, he never cared about the money, but for his parents. His mother who'd grown up in that house, his father who'd inherited it from his father. Babe, he'd said, holding my hands in our tiny apartment kitchen. I know it's a lot, but they have nowhere else to go, and your credit's good. Mine's trashed from their debt. If we don't do something... So I bought it. $347,000. Cash. Put it in my name alone because Alex's credit was indeed destroyed, dragged down by being a co-signer on his parents' endless loans. Let them keep living there, Alex had begged. Please, we don't have to tell them it's yours. Let them have their dignity. I'd agreed because I loved him, because he looked at me like I was his whole world, because family mattered to him even when they treated us, like we didn't matter at all. For 7 years, I paid the property taxes, $42,000 last year alone, fixed the plumbing, replaced the ancient HVAC system, kept the lights on and the water running, and for 7 years, they never knew. They thought the mortgage had just disappeared, that maybe it was Alex's life insurance. There was no life insurance. We'd let the policy lapse to pay for Victoria's Europe trip, but I never corrected their assumption. I let them host their Thanksgiving dinners in my dining room, let them sip wine from my cellar, let them call me an outsider in my own house. And now, 3 weeks after burying my husband, Eleanor wanted to sell it out from under me. I see, I said into the phone, my voice steady even as my heart turned to stone. 60 days. I'm glad you understand, dear. It's what's best for everyone. I understood perfectly. After that phone call, the mask came completely off. Eleanor didn't just stop pretending to like me. She actively worked to erase Alex from our lives. I came home from work 2 weeks later to find garbage bags on the front porch. Inside were Alex's clothes, his books, the watch his grandfather had given him, the guitar he'd been teaching Lily to play. I thought you'd want to go through them, Eleanor said, not even trying to look sorry. But really, Isabella, holding on to these things isn't healthy, for you or for Lily. Children are resilient. She'll adjust faster if she's not constantly reminded. She'd thrown away my husband like he was trash. Victoria was worse in her own way. She started posting on Facebook, subtle at first, then increasingly pointed. Some people cling to grief like it's a personality trait. Life goes on. Interesting how quickly widows expect the world to stop turning for them. Family money should stay with family. That's just facts. Her friends, people who'd smiled at me at the funeral, liked every post, but it was Richard who finally made me stop playing nice. We were at Lily's school play. She was playing a sunflower in the spring recital, and she'd been so excited about it. Her first real smile since Alex died. I was standing in the hallway afterward, holding the flowers I'd brought, when Richard appeared beside me. He'd been drinking. I could smell it. Isabella, he said, not quite slurring, but close. You should think about moving. This neighborhood, this school, it's expensive. Not really for single mothers on whatever budget you're on now. Lily was 6 feet away. She heard him. That night, she cried herself to sleep asking why Grandma and Grandpa hated her, why they wanted us to leave, whether Daddy dying meant we weren't a family anymore. She was 8 years old. That was the night I stopped being the good daughter-in-law. That was the night I decided that if they wanted to treat me like an enemy, they'd learn what having me as an enemy actually meant. I gave them 1 more year. One more year of paying their property taxes. One more year of watching them host parties in my house. One more year of listening to them spoil Victoria's kids with expensive gifts while giving Lily dollar store toys because she doesn't know the difference. But that year wasn't wasted. Every month I added to the file. Utility bills in my name going back 7 years. Insurance policies listing me as the property owner. Tax receipts with my signature, the original deed, notarized and recorded with the county. I installed security cameras, professional ones, hidden ones, cameras they never noticed because they'd never thought to look. I caught Eleanor on tape telling the gardener, "That woman doesn't belong here anymore. Between you and me, she never did." I saved Victoria's texts, screenshots of every single one. "When is the gold digger leaving?" "Tell her time's up. We want our house back." "Mom says you're getting power of attorney stuff ready. Good. Some people need to learn their place." I found Richard's emails to a lawyer asking about transferring property titles, about what happens when someone dies and leaves a house to family, about whether a spouse could be removed from a property if she wasn't on the original deed. He was trying to forge documents, actually trying to steal my house through fraud. I forwarded everything to my attorney, built a case file that would make a prosecutor weep with joy. Every month I documented. Every month I prepared. Every month I watched them become crueler, more confident, more certain that they'd already won. They thought I was weak, thought I was alone, thought I was just the poor girl who'd gotten lucky with their son and was now getting what she deserved. They forgot that I'd built everything from nothing before, that I'd survived worse than them, that I knew how to fight not with tantrums or tears, but with patience and paperwork and perfect timing. This Thanksgiving, 1 year and 3 months after Alex died, I brought everything. The deed, the evidence, the documentation, the truth they'd been too arrogant to see. And I waited for the perfect moment. When Richard raised his glass and told me I wasn't family, when they thought they'd finally broken me, that's when I showed them exactly who they'd been dealing with all along. The deed lay there between the cranberry sauce and the stuffing like a bomb that had already detonated. Richard recovered first. Of course he did. 65 years of privilege had taught him that reality could be argued away if you just sounded confident enough. His finger stabbed at the paper, shaking. "This is a forgery. You can't seriously expect us to believe—" "Page 3, I said, my voice calm as a judge reading a sentence. I didn't move. Didn't need to. Notarized by Margaret Chen, County Recorder's Office, dated April 12, 2018, recorded at 2:47 p.m. the same day. Property deed number 2018 Arfrisi 8 Sav 634. I let each detail land like a hammer blow. You can call the county office Monday morning if you'd like to verify. They're closed for the holiday, but I'm sure they'd be happy to send you a certified copy. For a small fee, of course." Eleanor made a sound. Low, wounded, animal. Her perfectly manicured hands reached for the deed like she could make it disappear through sheer force of will. I slid it 6 inches to the left, out of her reach. "Don't," I said quietly. "That's an original document. Very important. I'd hate for something to happen to it." "You're lying." Eleanor's voice cracked on the second word. "This house has been in Richard's family for 3 generations. His grandfather built it in 1952. You can't just—" "His grandfather built it, yes. Then his father mortgaged it in 1983. Then Richard took out a second mortgage in 1998, a third in 2007, and a fourth in 2016. I recited the dates from memory. I'd lived with them long enough. The bank sent final foreclosure notice in March 2018. You had 60 days to vacate." The color drained from Richard's face. "Alex came to me crying," I continued, looking directly at Eleanor now. "Said his mother would die if she lost this house. Said it would kill his father, asked me to save it." Around the table, people had stopped eating, stopped pretending. Victoria's cousin Marcus leaned forward, phone subtly recording. Aunt Patricia's mouth hung open. Even the children sensed something massive happening. "So I bought it," I said simply. $347,000 cash. I paid off all your mortgages, all your liens, all your debts against this property. The bank signed it over to me on April 12th, 2018. "That's impossible," Victoria whispered, but her voice had none of her mother's conviction. She was already doing the math, already remembering things. "You didn't have that kind of money," Alex said. "Alex said a lot of things to protect your feelings." I smiled, cold and sharp. I had 13 rental properties by then, a commercial building downtown, 3 fix-and-flip projects running simultaneously. I'd been investing in real estate since I was 22 years old. I watched her process it, watched the understanding hit. "While you were posting on Instagram about manifesting abundance and trust fund dreams, I was building an actual portfolio. While your mother was telling people I was tacky, I was out-earning everyone at this table combined." Richard slammed his palm on the table. Silverware jumped. Wine sloshed. "Then why didn't you tell us?" he roared. "Why let us think? Why would Alex keep that from us?" The rage felt good. Let him be angry. He'd earned what was coming. "Because he asked me not to," I said. "He put the house in my name because his credit was destroyed from co-signing all your loans, because the bank wouldn't approve him for $1. But he begged me to let you keep your dignity, let you think it was, I don't know, magic, inheritance, anything but the truth." I paused, let it breathe. "That you'd been living on my charity for 7 years. Eleanor lunged across the table. Her hands clawed for the deed, for me, for something to destroy. Richard grabbed her arm, but she was wild with it, completely unhinged. The heirloom turkey platter crashed to the floor. Gravy splattered across the Persian rug, the one I'd had professionally cleaned 6 times. "You ungrateful little bitch," Eleanor shrieked. "After everything we've done for you, we let you into this family. We accepted you when no one else would have. You were nothing, nothing." Lily's hand tightened on mine like a vice. I looked down at my daughter, at her wide, frightened eyes, at the tears starting to form, and something in me went very, very cold. "Lily," I said softly, "go wait in the kitchen, baby. Mommy, kitchen, now." She went. I waited until I heard the door swing shut before I stood up. The room fell silent. "Victoria," I said, not looking at her, "did you want to know if I bought your house?" She'd backed her chair away from the table, phone clutched to her chest. Mascara already running. The answer is no," I said. "I didn't buy your house. I saved your house. There's a difference." I turned to Richard, who was still holding Eleanor back from the table. "I saved it because my husband asked me to, because he loved you despite everything you are, because he couldn't bear to watch his parents become homeless." My voice stayed level, steady. That made it worse somehow. "And for 7 years, you've spent every holiday, every birthday, every Sunday dinner reminding me that I'm not really family, that blood matters more than anything, that some of us belong and some of us, we're just passing through." I picked up the deed, folded it carefully, put it back in the manila folder. "You're right," I said. "Some of us were just passing through, but it wasn't me." Victoria found her voice, high and desperate. "You can't just throw us out. This is our home." "It's my home," I corrected. "Legally, financially, in every way that matters. You've been my tenants, very expensive tenants." "We didn't pay rent," Eleanor shrieked. "Exactly." The word hung in the air like a guillotine blade. Aunt Patricia stood up, her chair scraping loud. "Isabella, surely we can all—" "Sit down, Patricia." I didn't raise my voice. Didn't need to. "This doesn't concern you, unless you'd like to start contributing to the $42,000 in annual property taxes? No? Then sit." She sat. I turned back to Eleanor and Richard. 7 years, I said. 7 years of paying every bill. 7 years of maintaining this property. 7 years of listening to you tell me I don't belong in the house I own. Lily peeked through the kitchen door. Still scared, but watching, listening. They're leaving, I told her clearly. Not us, them. Richard tried to recover, tried to find that authoritative voice he'd used to cut me down for over a decade. Isabella, darling, I think we've all been under a great deal of stress. Grief does terrible things to judgment. Why don't we take a moment, cool down, discuss this like adults? Adults? I pulled out my phone. That's interesting, because adults don't talk behind people's backs. Adults don't threaten children. Adults don't try to commit fraud. His face went gray. What are you? I have videos, I said simply. Should we watch them? As a family? I didn't wait for permission. My phone connected to the massive TV above the fireplace, the 85-inch Samsung I'd bought them for Christmas 2 years ago because Eleanor wanted to watch her British baking shows properly. The first video started. New Year's Eve, last year. The party had been in full swing. Eleanor in her silver dress, champagne glass in hand, standing with her book club friends near the grand piano. The audio was crystal clear. Just don't understand how she's still here, Eleanor was saying, slightly drunk. I mean, Alex is gone. The meal ticket is gone. You'd think she'd have the dignity to go back to whatever trailer park she crawled out of. Her friends laughed. Actual laughter. Give it time, one of them said. Once you get the house situation sorted. Oh, that's happening, Eleanor interrupted. Trust me, we're selling. She'll get nothing. Blood takes care of blood. That's just how it works. The video froze. Around the Thanksgiving table, no one moved. No one breathed. Aunt Patricia had gone white. Marcus had stopped recording, stunned. Even the children looked confused, sensing the adults had crossed some line that couldn't be uncrossed. But wait, I said pleasantly. There's more. The next clip started. Lily's 9th birthday party, 6 months ago. I'd rented a bounce house, hired a princess performer, made a 3-tier cake myself because Lily wanted the one Mommy makes, not store-bought. The video showed Victoria and Eleanor in the backyard, standing by the rose bushes, voices low, but my security cameras had excellent microphones. God, can you believe she's still wearing Alex's money? Victoria said, gesturing toward the party. Like it's hers, like she earned it. Won't be for much longer, Eleanor replied, smiling that smile. Richard's lawyer says once Mom gets power of attorney over the estate. Wait, what estate? Victoria interrupted. I thought Alex had nothing. Doesn't matter. The house is community property, or it will be once we prove it. We'll get her out, sell it, and finally be done supporting the leech. Victoria tilted her phone, taking a selfie with the bounce house in the background. Can't wait. This whole grieving widow act is getting old. The video froze again. I watched Eleanor. Watched the horror dawn as she realized everyone was seeing it. Her book club friends, the neighbors, her own family members who'd driven in from Connecticut. One more, I said, voice still calm, still steady. This time it was just audio. Richard's voice played from the TV speakers, filling the dining room. Isabella, listen to me carefully. His voice was cold, threatening. The voice he'd used when he cornered me at Lily's school play. If you fight us on the house, we'll make sure Lily never sees her grandparents again. Family takes care of family. Blood remembers. And you're not blood. You never were. A pause. Then, think about what you're taking from your daughter. Think about how she'll feel when she's older, knowing her mother cut her off from her real family. The recording ended. Silence. Complete, absolute silence. I let it sit. Let them feel the weight of their own words played back in front of everyone they'd ever wanted to impress. Eleanor started crying, not delicate tears, ugly, snotty sobs that made her mascara run in black rivers down her face. She kept looking around the table like someone would save her, like someone would say it wasn't that bad, that I was overreacting. No one did. Richard had aged 20 years in 5 minutes. His hands shook, The purple in his face had faded to a grayish pale that made him look corpse-like. Victoria just kept shaking her head, murmuring, "This isn't happening. This isn't happening. This isn't real." But it was real. "Those are just highlights," I said conversationally. "I have 17 months of footage. Every conversation, every time you called me names when you thought I couldn't hear, every plan you made to destroy me, every threat against my daughter." I swiped my phone. The TV screen changed to a shared folder icon. Already sent to my attorney, already backed up in 3 separate cloud services. Time-stamped, dated, documented. I looked at each of them in turn. Did you really think I wouldn't protect myself? That I'd just let you erase me and Lily without keeping proof? Aunt Patricia stood up again, this time to leave. I think we should go, Tom." Other people started moving. Chairs scraped, coats were grabbed. The cousins, the friends, the neighbors who'd come for what they thought would be an elegant holiday meal. They couldn't get out fast enough. No one wanted to be associated with what they'd just witnessed. Within 5 minutes, the table that had held 16 people held only 6. Me, Eleanor, Richard, Victoria, Lily standing in the kitchen doorway, and Marcus, Victoria's cousin who'd stayed, phone still out, watching like this was the most fascinating thing he'd ever seen. "You should leave too," I told Marcus. "Wouldn't miss this for the world," he said. "Keep going." I stood slowly. Let the moment build. Eleanor was still crying, but quieter now, defeated. Richard sat with his head in his hands. Victoria had her arms wrapped around herself, rocking slightly. 30 days, I said. Richard's head snapped up. What? 30 days notice, I repeated. That's what the law requires for tenant eviction in this state. I'm feeling generous, so I'm following the law exactly. You can't, Eleanor started. I am. You have 30 days from today to vacate my property. This is insane, Victoria shrieked, finding some fire again. You can't just kick us out. We'll fight this. You'll what? I asked calmly. Sue me? With what money? Your mother's maxed out credit cards? Your father's non-existent income? The inheritance you thought you had but doesn't exist? I smiled. Please, try. I have 12 attorneys on retainer. What do you have? Richard stood up so fast his chair crashed backward. For a moment, I thought he might actually try to hit me. Part of me hoped he would. Assault charges would make this even easier. Family, he said, voice breaking. Doesn't this mean anything to you? Darling, we're family. Despite everything, You said I wasn't family, I reminded him gently. 2 hours ago, in front of everyone. You said some of us are family and some of us were just passing through. Remember? His mouth opened, closed. No words came. You said it's about blood, I continued. About who belongs and who doesn't. Well, you're right. Blood matters. I walked over to the kitchen door, opened it, held out my hand to Lily. She took it, stepping close to my side. This is my blood, I said, putting my arm around my daughter. This is my family. And this house? This house is ours. Not because of your son's memory, not because of some obligation, because I bought it. Because it's legally mine. Because I say so. I looked at Eleanor. You wanted to sell it out from under me. Wanted to leave my daughter homeless 3 weeks after she buried her father. Did you think I'd forgotten that phone call, Eleanor? You have 60 days to find something more appropriate. Eleanor flinched like I'd slapped her. I haven't forgotten anything, I said. Not a single insult, not a single threat, not one moment of the 12 years you've made me feel like I was lucky to breathe your air. Lily pressed against my side. I could feel her trembling slightly, but she stayed. She needed to see this, needed to understand that people who hurt you don't get to keep hurting you just because they share DNA. Home is where people love you, baby, I said to Lily, loud enough for everyone to hear. And these people? They don't love us. They never did. I turned back to Richard. Oh, one more thing, I said, almost as an afterthought. The security cameras? They've been live streaming to my cloud server for 17 months. Everything is stored. Everything is time-stamped. Everything is admissible in court. Richard's face did something complicated. You've been recording us? In our own home? My home, I corrected. And yes, 24 hours a day, every room except the bathrooms because I'm not a monster. But every conversation, every plan, every moment you thought you were safe to say whatever you wanted about me, recorded. I picked up my purse, my folder, my daughter's hand. My attorney has copies. My business partner has copies. My accountant has copies. If anything happens to me, if I get in a car accident, if I mysteriously disappear, if anything, all of it goes to the police immediately. The threat hung in the air like poison gas. So, I said pleasantly, I suggest you spend the next 30 days finding somewhere else to live. And I suggest you do it quietly, without damaging my property, without trying any legal tricks, without making this any uglier than you already have. I walked toward the front door. Lily stayed close. Isabella, please. Eleanor's voice cracked. Please, we can talk about this. We can work something out. Family. I stopped, turned. You know what the saddest part is? I asked. If you'd just been kind, if you just treated us with basic human decency, I would have let you stay forever. I would have kept paying for everything. I would have kept my mouth shut and let you have your dignity. I let that sink in. But you couldn't even do that. You couldn't even be civil to an 8-year-old child who just lost her father. You threatened my daughter, Eleanor. You threatened to take away her grandparents if I didn't give you my house. My voice went cold. There's no coming back from that. There's no family bond stronger than threatening a child. I opened the front door. Cold November air rushed in. 30 days, I said one last time. After that, the locks change. And if you damage anything, anything at all, I will sue you for every cent you don't have. Every piece of jewelry, every stick of furniture, every last thing you own. I looked each of them in the eye. Happy Thanksgiving. Then I walked out with my daughter, leaving them in the ruins of their perfect holiday. I made it exactly 4 steps down the front walkway before Richard's voice stopped me. Isabella! Isabella, please, just wait! He was following us. Running, actually, as much as a 65-year-old man could run in dress shoes on a cold night. His breath came in white puffs, visible in the porch lights. Please, he said again, catching up to us at my car. Please, just give us a minute to explain. Explain what? I asked, opening the back door for Lily. Explain the years of abuse? Explain trying to steal my house? Explain threatening my child? We didn't mean... He ran his hand through his hair, wild-eyed. We were grieving too. We lost our son. You have to understand, we weren't thinking clearly. You had 17 months to think clearly, I said. I helped Lily into her booster seat, buckled her in, closed the door. She was safe, protected from whatever came next. I turned back to Richard. 17 months since Alex died, and in that time, you threw away his belongings, called me names, threatened me with lawyers, tried to forge property documents, and worst of all, my voice dropped to something dangerous. You made my daughter feel unwanted. You made her cry herself to sleep, asking why her grandparents hated her. Richard's face crumpled. Lily. We love Lily. She's our granddaughter. You love her? I laughed. It sounded harsh in the cold air. You gave her dollar store toys for her birthday while buying Victoria's kids iPads. You told her she couldn't come to family dinners because it's just for blood relatives. You ignored her at the funeral. At her own father's funeral, you ignored your granddaughter. Behind him, Eleanor had appeared in the doorway. She'd tried to fix her makeup but gave up halfway. Now she just looked destroyed, old, small. She started down the steps, not fast like Richard, but steady, determined. Isabella, she called, her voice hoarse. Isabella, please. I got in the driver's seat, started the engine. Eleanor reached the car just as I was about to close the door. She grabbed it, held on. Don't, she said. Please don't do this. This house, my mother lived here. My grandmother. I grew up in this house. Every memory I have is in these walls. I looked at her, really looked at her. I know, I said quietly. That's why Alex asked me to save it, because he knew what it meant to you. And I did save it. I bought it. I paid for it. I've maintained it for 7 years. Eleanor's eyes filled with tears again. Then why take it now? Why not just... Because you tried to take it first, I said simply. Because 3 weeks after burying my husband, you called to evict me. Because you spent 17 months making sure I knew I didn't belong. I pulled the door gently. She didn't let go. Please, Eleanor whispered. She was crying again, but different now. Quieter, broken. Please, I'm begging you. This house is all we have left of him, all we have left of our family. Don't take this from us. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We'll do better. You're not sorry you did it, I said. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. I pulled harder on the door. She stumbled back, letting go. Through the windshield, I could see Richard in the doorway now, holding Eleanor. Both of them backlit by the warm light of the house, my house, watching me drive away. In the rearview mirror, I saw Eleanor sink to her knees right there on the front steps. Not elegant, not controlled, just collapsed. Richard dropped down beside her, trying to lift her up, but she wouldn't move. They stayed like that, on their knees, in front of a house they'd thought was theirs, but had been mine all along. Mommy? Lily's small voice came from the back seat. Are you okay? I looked at my daughter in the mirror, at her worried face, her father's eyes staring back at me. Yeah, baby, I said. I'm okay. We're okay. Where are we going? The lake house, I said. Remember? Where we went for your birthday? With the dock and the fireflies? Her face brightened slightly. Can we stay there? For as long as you want. I drove away from Maplewood Lane, away from the house where I'd been married and belittled and betrayed, away from 12 years of being told I wasn't enough. And for the first time in longer than I could remember, I felt light. 3 weeks later, Eleanor showed up at my office. I was in a meeting with a commercial client, a strip mall purchase that would close in 30 days, when my assistant buzzed in. Ms. Rossi, there's a situation in the lobby. I excused myself, already knowing what I'd find. Eleanor stood by the glass doors wearing the mink coat she'd bragged about for years. The one Richard had bought her when we still had family money, the one she wore to show the world she mattered. She looked smaller in it now. The coat swallowed her, or maybe grief had just shrunk her down to something less than she'd been. Isabella, she said when she saw me. Her voice was hoarse, like she'd been crying. Probably had been. Thank God. I was afraid you wouldn't see me. I almost didn't, I said truthfully. What do you want, Eleanor? To talk, please, just 5 minutes. I looked at my watch, a Cartier I'd bought myself 3 years ago. You have 3. She flinched at the coldness, but pressed on. I want to apologize, she said. Really apologize. What we said, what we did, it was unforgivable. We were wrong, so wrong. I've been thinking about it every day since Thanksgiving. I can't sleep, I can't eat. Please. Isabella, please give us another chance. She reached out like she might touch my arm. I stepped back. Richard and I, she continued, voice breaking. We're staying with Victoria, in her apartment. It's a 2-bedroom, and with her kids, we're sleeping on an air mattress in the living room. We can't live like this. We're not young anymore. That house, your house, it's the only home we have. Had, I corrected. It's the only home you had. Please, the word came out strangled. We'll do anything. Pay rent, sign whatever papers you want. Just please let us come back. Let us make this right. I studied her, the desperation in her eyes, the way her hands shook slightly, the mink coat that suddenly looked ridiculous instead of regal. For a moment, just a moment, I felt something like pity. Then I remembered Lily crying herself to sleep. Remembered Trailer Park, remembered she was just passing through. "No," I said. Eleanor's face crumpled. "Isabella." "You had 12 years to make it right," I said. 12 years to be kind, to be decent, to treat me like a human being. You chose not to." "We didn't understand." "You understood perfectly," I interrupted. "You understood that I had money and you needed it. You understood that I'd keep paying and paying and paying because I loved Alex. You understood all of it. You just thought I'd never fight back." I gestured to security who'd been hovering nearby. "Ms. Whitmore is leaving," I told them. "If she returns, call the police." "You can't," Eleanor started. "I can," I said, "and I will. If you come to my office again, if you show up at Lily's school, if you contact me in any way, I'll file for a restraining order. Do you understand?" She stood there, frozen, disbelieving, like reality kept refusing to match what she thought it should be. The security guards moved closer. "Come on, ma'am," one of them said gently. "Let's go." Eleanor let them escort her to the elevator. She looked back once, mouth open like she wanted to say something else, something that would change my mind, make me remember that we were family. The elevator doors closed on her face. I went back to my meeting and closed the deal on the strip mall. 47,000 square feet, 7-figure purchase. I signed the papers with a steady hand and celebrated with my team afterward. Eleanor's visit didn't ruin my day, barely even registered. That night, Richard sent an email, long and rambling and full of apologies that meant nothing. He talked about family and legacy and how much Alex would have wanted us to stay together, how disappointed Alex would be in all of us. I forwarded it to my attorney with the subject line, "Exhibits for future restraining order." Then I blocked his email address. 2 days after that, Victoria tried something different. She started a GoFundMe campaign. The title read, "Help our family keep our ancestral home after tragic loss." The description was a masterpiece of manipulation. Our beloved family home, built by my grandfather in 1952, is being taken from us during our darkest hour. After losing my brother Alex to a sudden aneurysm, his widow is forcing my elderly parents out of the home they've lived in for over 40 years. They have nowhere to go. They're in their mid-60s with health problems and limited income. All we're asking for is enough to cover legal fees and moving costs so they can fight this injustice. Any amount helps. Please share. Family shouldn't have to beg for mercy. There were photos. Eleanor and Richard looking frail and sad. Pictures of the house. Even a picture of Alex from his college graduation, like he was somehow endorsing this farce. It raised $47 in 3 days. My lawyer sent a cease and desist. The platform took it down for fraud and misrepresentation within hours. Victoria called me 16 times that day, left voicemails ranging from apologetic to furious to desperate. I didn't listen to a single one. The moving trucks showed up on day 29. I wasn't there to watch. I'd hired a property manager to oversee the transition, but she sent me photos and updates throughout the day. They'd taken everything: furniture, pictures, the chandelier from the dining room that had been there since the 70s. They'd even removed the curtain rods, but they'd been careful. Nothing damaged, nothing broken. They knew the threat in my final words had been real. My property manager walked through after they left, photographed every room, documented the condition. "It's clean," she texted. "Almost too clean, like they scrubbed it to erase themselves." I had the locks changed that afternoon. All of them. Front door, back door, side entrance, garage, new security codes, new alarm system. The house was mine. Fully, finally, completely mine. I learned later, through Victoria's cousin Marcus, who'd apparently developed a taste for family drama, that they'd moved into a 2-bedroom apartment on the other side of town, near the highway, near the mall where I'd once worked 3 jobs to pay for college. The irony wasn't lost on me. No yard, no pool, no grand staircase or marble columns, no legacy to pass down to grandchildren who would never visit because they'd learned from their grandmother how to be cruel to people who loved them. just 1,000 square feet of rented space with thin walls and neighbors who didn't care about their last name or their family history. Richard took a job at a hardware store, part-time. Because at 65, with no real work history and no references, that's what you get. Eleanor started volunteering at the library, probably trying to find some purpose in days that suddenly had no parties to plan or people to impress. Victoria stopped posting on social media. Her perfect life, the one she'd crafted so carefully, had shattered when everyone saw those videos. When her friends and followers realized what kind of person she really was, the story spread. Of course it did. Marcus had recorded everything, and while he'd had the decency not to post it publicly, he'd told people, and people talk. Within a month, everyone knew. The country club dropped their membership. Quietly, politely, but definitively. The charity boards Eleanor had served on suddenly didn't need her anymore. The social circle they'd cultivated for decades closed ranks and locked them out. They'd wanted to protect their legacy. Instead, they'd destroyed it. And me? I kept the house for exactly 6 months, let it sit empty while I decided what to do with it. Then I sold it for $890,000. More than twice what I'd paid. I donated half to a women's shelter, the kind of place that helps women and children escape situations where they're told they're worthless, where they're made to believe they don't deserve better. I kept the rest, added it to Lily's trust fund, to the college fund that would let her go anywhere she wanted, be anything she wanted, without ever having to ask permission from people who thought blood mattered more than love. The new owners were a young family, husband, wife, 2 kids under 5. They loved the house, saw its potential, promised to fill it with laughter and love and memories that didn't taste like poison. I gave them a good deal, threw in some furniture, even left the chandelier, because unlike Eleanor and Richard, I knew the truth. A house is just a house. Home is what you make it. Who you share it with, how you treat the people inside its walls. And I had plans to build a real home, one that didn't require me to shrink myself to fit, one where my daughter would never hear that she wasn't good enough, wasn't the right kind of family, wasn't worthy of love. The day the sale closed, I took Lily to get ice cream. "Are you sad?" she asked, chocolate chip mint dripping down her fingers. "About Grandma and Grandpa's house?" "No, baby," I said honestly, "not even a little bit." "Me neither," she said, then quieter. "Is it bad that I'm not sad?" I put down my spoon, looked at my daughter, 9 years old, brilliant and kind, and learning every day what it means to be loved. "No," I said firmly, "it's not bad. Sometimes people show us who they really are, and we're allowed to believe them. We're allowed to walk away from people who hurt us, even if they're family." "Even if they're blood?" she asked. "Especially if they're blood," I said, "because blood doesn't give someone permission to break your heart." She thought about that, processing it in the way children do, seriously, carefully, like she was filing it away for later. "I like our new home better," she finally said. "The lake house. It's nicer." "Yeah?" "Yeah, because you're happy there. And when you're happy, I'm happy." I pulled her into a hug, right there in the ice cream shop, not caring who saw or what they thought. This was family, not a house on Maplewood Lane, not a last name or a legacy carved in stone, not traditions built on looking down at people who had the audacity to be kind. Just me and my girl, building something new, something better. Something that would last because it was built on love instead of cruelty. And that was worth more than any deed, any house, any family tree that had rotted from the inside out. Christmas Eve at the lake house smelled like pine and tomato sauce and freedom, real pine. Not the artificial tree Eleanor had insisted on, because real trees are so messy and we have standards to maintain. This one was 8 feet tall, slightly crooked, with branches that reached out like they were trying to hug the room. Lily and I had cut it down ourselves at a farm 20 minutes away, dragging it through the snow while she laughed so hard she couldn't breathe. The smell alone was worth every needle that fell on the hardwood floors. I was in the kitchen making lasagna, my grandmother's recipe, the one with 3 kinds of cheese and homemade sauce that had to simmer for 4 hours, the kind of food Eleanor called peasant cooking, with her nose wrinkled like she'd smelled something rotten. Screw Eleanor. Tonight was for people who actually loved me. "Aunt Sarah's here," Lily shrieked from the living room, and I heard the front door bang open, cold air rushing in along with laughter. Sarah, my best friend since college, the sister I'd chosen instead of inherited, appeared in the kitchen doorway with her arms full of presents and her face red from the cold. "Tell me you made the lasagna," she said, dropping everything on the counter to hug me. "Tell me this is real and not some fever dream where you're finally free of those horrible people." I laughed into her shoulder. "It's real, all of it." "Good." She pulled back, studying my face. "You look different, lighter." "I feel lighter," I said, and meant it. She'd flown in from Seattle that morning, taken 3 days off work just to be here. Behind her came Marcus, Victoria's cousin who'd stayed for the whole Thanksgiving disaster, with his wife and 2 kids. "Hope you don't mind," Sarah said, gesturing to them. "Marcus called me, said he had to see the aftermath. Make sure you were okay." "More than okay," Marcus said, grinning. He handed me a bottle of wine that probably cost more than my monthly grocery bill. "That Thanksgiving thing? Best family drama I've ever witnessed. Victoria hasn't spoken to me since, but totally worth it." His wife laughed. "He's been calling it the deed heard round the world." More people arrived. My business partner Jennifer with her husband and teenage daughter. Tom from my office with his boyfriend. The couple who'd bought the Maplewood house, bringing homemade cookies and genuine smiles. Even my old landlord from when I was 22 and broke. The one who'd let me pay rent late when I was saving for my first investment property. No one here had ever made me feel small. No one here had ever told me I wasn't enough. By 6 p.m., the lake house was full of noise and warmth and the kind of chaos that feels like love instead of judgment. Lily was in the living room with Marcus's kids, building something complicated with Lego, while Christmas music played from the ancient record player I'd found at an estate sale. Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, the scratchy, imperfect sound of vinyl that Eleanor would have hated because it's so dated. Darling. I set the table, mismatched chairs because I'd invited more people than I had seating, paper napkins because I'd forgotten to buy cloth ones and didn't care. It was perfect. At dinner, we crowded around the table that was too small, elbows bumping, reaching over each other for bread, laughing so loud the windows rattled. "Tell the story again," Jennifer demanded halfway through her second glass of wine, the part where you put the deed on the turkey platter. "Oh my God, yes," Sarah said. "Marcus told me, but I need to hear it from you." So I told it, the whole thing. Richard's toast, Eleanor's face, the videos playing on the TV, their collapse, their begging, the 30 days that felt like justice. People gasped in the right places, cheered at the good parts. Tom's boyfriend actually applauded when I got to "blood doesn't pay the mortgage." "I can't believe you carried that secret for 7 years," Jennifer said, shaking her head. "I would have cracked in 7 days." "I almost did," I admitted. Every time Eleanor called me tacky, every time Richard implied I was a gold digger, every time they looked at Lily like she was an inconvenience. I glanced over at my daughter. She was curled up on the couch now, Marcus's youngest daughter asleep against her shoulder, both of them full of lasagna and happiness. "But Alex asked me to let them keep their dignity," I continued, "and I loved him enough to try, until they proved they didn't deserve it." "They deserved exactly what they got," Sarah said firmly. "Less, actually. You were generous with 30 days." The conversation moved on. Politics, movies, someone's disastrous Tinder date that had everyone crying with laughter. Normal things, good things, things that had nothing to do with proving my worth or fighting for my right to exist in spaces people thought I didn't belong. After dinner, we cleared the dishes together. Everyone helping, no hierarchy, no, "that's not how we do things." and moved to the living room. Someone put on old records. Sarah found a box of my grandmother's decorations and we hung ornaments that didn't match, strung lights that blinked unevenly, made the tree look like it had been decorated by people who cared more about joy than perfection. Tom and his boyfriend taught Lily how to dance to old jazz. Marcus's kids made paper snowflakes that we taped to the windows. Jennifer's daughter helped me make hot chocolate from scratch. The real kind with melted chocolate and whole milk and marshmallows that actually melted. Somewhere around 10 p.m., as snow started falling outside the big windows overlooking the lake, I found myself standing in the kitchen doorway just watching. Sarah came up beside me. "You good?" "Yeah," I said, "I'm really good." "You should be," she said quietly. "You fought for this. For Lily. For yourself. You earned this peace." I looked around the room, at the people who'd shown up, who'd driven hours or flown across the country just to be here, who loved me not for what I could give them, but for who I was. This was family, not the name, not the blood, not the house on Maplewood Lane with its marble columns and its poison. This. Lily fell asleep around 11, curled up under the Christmas tree we'd picked together. The lights reflected in her dark hair. Her face was peaceful in a way it hadn't been since Alex died. Maybe even before that. Maybe she'd always felt the tension, the way her grandparents looked at us like we were temporary. Sarah helped me carry her to bed. We tucked her in, and I stood there for a moment watching her sleep. "She looks like him," Sarah whispered. "I know." My throat tightened. "She has his eyes, his smile, his kindness." "That's all of him that matters," Sarah said. "The rest, the family, the name, the legacy, none of that matters. She has his heart. That's what counts." We went back downstairs. People were starting to leave, bundling into coats, hugging goodbye, promising to come back tomorrow for Christmas brunch. "Thank you," I told each of them, "for being here, for being you." "Are you kidding?" Jennifer said, wrapping me in a hug. "This is the best Christmas I've had in years. Your ex-in-laws did us all a favor by being terrible. Now we get you to ourselves." After everyone left, I walked through the quiet house, cleaned up glasses, turned off lights, stood by the window looking out at the snow falling on the lake, the moon reflecting off the ice. For the first time in 12 years, maybe longer, I didn't feel like I was performing, like I was proving something, like I had to earn my right to take up space. I was just here, present, free. I'd spent so long fighting to be accepted by people who would never accept me that I'd forgotten what it felt like to just be loved, simply, completely, without conditions. The house was warm. The tree lights glowed. In the guest room, Sarah was probably already asleep. Upstairs, Lily was dreaming whatever 9-year-olds dream when they're safe and loved and surrounded by people who would never make them question their worth. I sat down on the couch, where hours earlier we'd all been laughing. The cushions still held the warmth of bodies, the imprint of the evening. This was what I'd fought for. Not revenge, though that had been satisfying. Not justice, though that had been necessary. This peace, this freedom to exist without constantly defending my right to it. I pulled out my phone, opened the voice memo app, and started recording. Because some things need to be said. Some truths need to be spoken out loud for the people still fighting their own battles with families who don't deserve them. If you're watching this right now, if you found this story somehow, somewhere, in the middle of your own struggle, I need you to hear something. I need you to really hear it. If you've ever been told you don't belong, you do. You belong anywhere you choose to be. Your presence isn't something you have to earn or justify or apologize for. If you've ever smiled through pain because you thought that's what love required, it's not. Love doesn't demand that you shrink. Love doesn't ask you to accept cruelty in exchange for crumbs of acceptance. Real love, the kind that matters, makes you bigger, stronger, more yourself, not less. I spent 12 years trying to earn Eleanor and Richard's approval. 12 years paying their bills and swallowing their insults and pretending it didn't hurt when they reminded me I wasn't really family. I thought if I was just patient enough, kind enough, generous enough, they'd finally see my worth. But here's what I learned. You can't convince someone to value you if they've already decided you're disposable. You can't logic someone into loving you. You can't buy respect from people who've determined your price is whatever they're willing to pay. Your worth isn't decided by people who need you but don't respect you. Read that again. Your worth isn't decided by people who need you but don't respect you. Eleanor and Richard needed my money. They needed my silence. They needed me to keep playing the part of the grateful outsider so they could keep pretending they were still the wealthy, important family they'd never actually been. But they didn't respect me, not for a single day of 12 years. And the moment they didn't need me anymore, the moment Alex died and they thought they could take everything and leave me with nothing, they showed me exactly what I'd always been to them: convenient. That's a hard thing to accept about people you've loved, about people you've sacrificed for, about family, because they were family in the legal sense, in the Christmas card sense. But here's what I want you to understand. Accepting it doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. Sometimes justice isn't dramatic. Sometimes it's not revenge. Sometimes it's just a woman who finally decides she's done being quiet. A woman who pulls out a piece of paper, a deed, a contract, a receipt, and says, actually, here's what's real. Here's what's true. Here's what you forgot about me. I didn't destroy Eleanor and Richard. They destroyed themselves. I just stopped protecting them from the consequences of their own cruelty. The videos, those were their words, their choices, their truth. The eviction? That was legal protection of property I'd legally owned for 7 years. All I did was stop lying, stop covering, stop pretending that their dignity was more important than my daughter's safety. And you know what? The moment I stopped trying to make them love me, I finally had space to accept the love that was already there. From Sarah, from my team, from people who showed up on Christmas Eve not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Family isn't blood. I know that's a cliche, I know you've heard it before, but I need you to understand it in your bones, the way I finally do. Family isn't blood. It's who shows up when the masks come off. It's who stays when things get hard. It's who makes you feel more like yourself instead of less. Mine starts with me and my daughter, with the people we've chosen and who've chosen us back, with the family we're building from love instead of obligation. Your family can start with you too. Right now, today, this moment. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't owe anyone access to your life just because they share your DNA. You don't owe anyone forgiveness if they've never actually stopped hurting you. What you owe yourself is truth, dignity, the courage to walk away from people who make you feel small, even if, especially if, they're supposed to love you. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. Walking away from the Rossies was one of the hardest things I've ever done, even after everything they'd put me through, because there's this voice in your head that says, but they're family, but you should try harder. But what if you're the problem? That voice is wrong. If you've tried for years, if you've paid and sacrificed and swallowed your hurt, and they're still treating you like you're less than, you're not the problem. You never were. So here's my question for you. Where are you watching from tonight? What city? What state? What country? Drop it in the comments. I want to know where you are in the world. I want to know I'm not alone in this story, and you're not alone in yours. And here's my other question. Have you ever had that moment? That moment when you realized you were holding all the cards? When you realized the power you thought they had was only real because you'd given it to them? Tell me about it. Tell me your story, because someone else watching needs to hear it. Someone else is sitting where you once sat, wondering if they're crazy for wanting more, for demanding better. If this story hit you somewhere deep, if you felt it in your chest or your throat, or that place in your gut where you know something is true, hit that like button. Subscribe, ring the bell. Not for me, for yourself. As a promise that you're going to start choosing yourself the way I finally chose myself and my daughter. Because here's the truth they don't want you to know. Peace is available. Freedom is possible. You can build a life where you don't spend every holiday bracing for impact, where you don't measure your words, where you don't apologize for taking up space. I have that now. Lily has that now. We're building it one day at a time, one chosen family member at a time, one moment of freedom at a time. And if I can get here from where I was, from the girl who worked 3 jobs and married above her station, from the woman who swallowed insults for 12 years, from the widow who almost let them take everything, then you can get here too. The house on Maplewood Lane? I sold it, gave half to a women's shelter, put the rest in Lily's trust fund. Because that house was never about the building or the legacy or the marble columns Eleanor loved so much. It was about learning that some things aren't worth keeping, that sometimes the best revenge is just building something better somewhere else, that you can't heal in the same place that broke you. I've got peace now, real peace, the kind that comes from sleeping in a house where no one is judging you. The kind that comes from looking at your daughter and knowing she's growing up understanding that love is supposed to feel safe, not scary. And that peace, that freedom, that life where I don't have to prove anything to anyone, it's worth more than any house they could have taken, more than any family name they dangled like I should be grateful for it, more than 12 years of trying to earn something that should have been freely given. So, wherever you are tonight, in New York or London or Tokyo or some small town where you thought you were the only one dealing with this, know that you're not alone. Know that it's not your fault. Know that you deserve better. And know that better is waiting for you. You just have to be brave enough to choose it. Family isn't blood. It's who shows up when the masks come off. Mine starts with me and my daughter, with Christmas at the lake house and chosen family and lasagna and peace. What will yours be?